What's going on, everybody? So, I don't know if I should continue the video I made or I just got abruptly, distracted. But for those who don't know, welcome to the channel, Crypto Wonder Podcast. Welcome to the channel. I talk about different things, primarily crypto, but I like to talk about different things that interest me too, right? But I'm gonna talk about like certain affairs that's going on, and let's get right into it. Let's get right into it. So, with everything that's taking place with, the pandemic and everything going on right now, I hail from New York in the United States. I'm from New York, and I need to talk about something that I think is very important, which sort of like it's based on the conversation I had today with my wife. And she just helped me, kind of like put me together. What am I talking about? So in New York, as recent as yesterday, there's a 10 p.m. curfew now, uh, for bars, restaurants, gyms, and personal private gatherings. No more than 10 people can be, for example, in your home, um, entertaining or whatever capacity. No more than 10 people. Otherwise, if these things are not upheld, there will be enforcement. And I would imagine that means that fines, you have to pay a fine, some type of summons. They're gonna hit you in your pockets. So the mayor, the governor issued these restrictions, and of course, all the city, local governments are gonna follow, especially in New York City. And the mayor is the head of New York City government. So the mayor also announced that parents need to make plans and prepare for Monday, this coming Monday, because there could be possible closing of all the public schools due to the surge in the health crisis that's taking place. I, I got upset. I'm not gonna lie, because I'm a family guy, and children. If you have children under 10 years old and you have to work, school is used as a way to also, for childcare purposes, right? Let's be frank. If you have day jobs and your kids are in school, well, that helps a lot. And now to hear that public schools are going to close, and now what happens if you're working or went back to work, and now you have to be afraid of losing that income, having to stay home once again to take care of your children. It's hardship all around, right? But then, I spoke to my wife, and she helped me understand some things that I sometimes you have to hear things that you may very well know to put you all back together. And I'm going to talk about why, what I'm talking about here. What am I talking about? So, for example, I'm a first generation Haitian American. My parents are from Haiti. And, I can, I'm going to say this bluntly. The people in Haiti, many people in Haiti, are living in squalor because of the conditions of the country. And there's so many other countries that are experiencing similar levels of hardship. And here I am in New York, in America, wondering about things that people would really dream. They would trade places with me. They would love to be concerned about how am I going to juggle taking care of my children versus working, you know, juggle how to, pay the bills, if I don't have a job, if I'm unable to take care of the children now because they have to be home, who's going to watch them, et cetera, et cetera. There's so many resources available in New York that I sometimes have to remember and forget that many countries do not have. And we're gonna bring it real simple. We're gonna bring it to simple brass tacks. We're gonna let's just bring it back to earth. Let's just come back down to the ground of reality. The reality is drinking water. I could turn on the tap water, although it's not the best thing to do. But I could turn on the tap water and basically enjoy a glass of water without worried about having microbes or issues and getting sick from drinking water. I can't do that in Haiti. I could turn on a light switch here and basically have light, working electricity. Those conditions are not similar in Haiti. I lay down on a mattress, to go to sleep and to wake up. And many people across the world do not have mattresses to sleep on, much less a roof over their heads. In this country as well too, but we're talking about let's just look at things for what they are, compare and contrast the differences that exist right now, and how so many people across the world at our worst state right now, so many people across the world would love to trade places with us because of the opportunities that are available in first world countries like America and cities like New York. There are people who live in America who migrate to New York. And I know this for a fact because I've met these people. I've heard it all my life. Just because of the opportunities that are offered. Okay? If you're a single mother, you can receive all types of assistance. All types of assistance. It may not be to the conditions and the levels that we want, but you could have a home. You could have a home that's fully furnished if you use yourself, if you apply yourself and use the resources that are available. You could receive assistance, public assistance, cash assistance, food stamps, Medicaid by way of health. There are people who have to pay in different countries. They have to pay before they even see a doctor, regardless of the conditions that they're in. They have to pay money before they can even see a doctor. We're talking about people who have nothing. And if they do not have the money to be seen by a medical professional, guess what? They're turned away and they're left to literally die. Here I am complaining about now having to be prepared once again for this oncoming shutdown with the schools and a lockdown, a full lockdown that they're talking about now, soon to come. We're going to get into that later on in this video. We're going to get into that. There are people who don't have meals, who can't eat. Eating once a day is a luxury. Eating once a day. We talk about the stimulus in America. Oh, the stimulus is not enough. We need recurring payments or something better, UBI or something, to help us while we're going through these things. And that's all true. But there are people who have less than that, who have nothing, absolutely nothing. And here we are still clamoring, we're complaining about, I mean, it's like, listen, I find myself always saying, you know, stop depending on being given things, stop depending and create your own reality, right? Create your own reality because we're able to do that here. This is not a, like, what I'm trying to say is this, because I've seen people do it for decades. I'm a man of a certain age. I've seen all types of people migrate from their homelands, come here, and create something out of nothing. There's certain places where public school education doesn't even exist in certain countries. They have to pay for school. If you can't pay for school, well, guess what? Your children are not receiving any type of education. Here, I'm complaining, oh, the public schools are trying to close down. Meanwhile, the schools are offering laptops or Apple iPads to children to do remote learning. iPads, Apple products, where children in China would sell their organs just to have the latest iPhone. Here, we're being given iPads if we need it. Of course, you have to return it, but you get my point. Where we have to be, I mean, this is just crazy. This is just crazy. When you think about, you may have $1 in your pocket. So many more people have zero, nothing, and won't have anything for a very long period of time. You might have $1 in your pocket. Well, what you're in a position now where you can multiply that dollar, however, in however level, however. So many people from different walks of life, from different parts of the world, would love to trade places with us right now, would love to trade places with me. I have to take onus of that and be grateful and not have this pseudo sense of entitlement, this fake sense of entitlement, because everything can change in a second. Be grateful. I have to be grateful for what I have. I have to be grateful for what I have because people have much less and probably will never have a quarter of what, not just me, of what we all have here in America. I help clients, work with clients who have all the resources they need, and they choose to be on the street for whatever reasons. They choose to be on the street with nothing. It's not because services are not available. They're there. Services are there. They can live in a home, rent fully paid, not have to worry about their basic needs being met. People across the world have to worry about their basic needs being met every day, including children. How many children in different countries are sold because their families cannot afford to take care of them, much less feed them? And here I am in New York complaining about now having to make plans, possible plans, because public schools are going to be shut down and how that's going to affect my work. I saw this coming anyway. The beginning, at the height of this fiasco in March and April, I saw this coming. I predict for myself that this state that we're living in, not in New York, but I'm talking about these conditions that we're living in, will continue for the next 6 months at least. And I'm going to get into why. There's a doctor and I guess a Federal Reserve president or the head of a Federal Reserve bank, I believe in Minnesota, who declared that there should possibly very well be a full lockdown to take place to stamp out whatever this whole thing has caused, this problem with the pandemic. And when are they trying to enforce that lockdown? Right after the Trump presidency ends. So we're talking January 21, 2021. So in another 2.5 months or so, expect full lockdown to last how long? 4 to 6 weeks. The talks are already there. And then what happens after the 6 weeks? Everything takes time to get back in order. So we're talking 4 or 5 months, 6 months minimum. Make the plans, make the provisions now. We're able to do this. I talk about freedom and how, our freedom is sometimes I gotta check myself too, because I talked about how in my previous videos, some of my videos, how they're taking freedom away from us and things like that. And even in this condition that we're in, they want us to not see our families, for the holidays or Thanksgiving, have small dinners. Now we can only have no more than 10 people in our private homes, It sounds crazy. It does sound crazy. It does sound crazy. But many people have so much less than what we have, even right now. If you ate something today, consider yourself fortunate. If you were able to take a shower today, consider yourself fortunate. If you were able to even have a phone, be able to turn the lights on, be able to have outfits, a piece of clothing on, consider yourself fortunate. Consider yourself fortunate if you have a roof over your head. Consider yourself fortunate, because a lot of times it's not just about the resources that are available. It's not just about expecting handouts from the government, expecting the government to take care of the people, etc. It's what effort are you doing, are we going to do to make sure that we're okay? Where's the accountability? Stop making excuses. Stop complaining. That's just how I feel. This false sense of entitlement. Like, people, I could see when you're in your cage, and I'm not saying that to be insulting, or I would say in a box, right, or a cage basically, and you don't see anything but what's in your cage. I'm gonna call it, like, even in New York, even though I've traveled outside of New York and I've been fortunate out of the country and everything to see things, but I had to be reminded, because I don't do it often, and maybe I should, to be reminded of what we have. Because when you go abroad and you see the conditions are so much worse, and I'm talking about having your basic needs met, are so much worse than they are at your worst in America, then you have to count your blessings. What are you complaining about? What are we complaining about? COVID fatigue. I mean, I just, it's there, and I get it, and I understand it. I understand this whole thing with COVID fatigue, and people are tired. People are tired too, because they haven't gotten their medicine, because they can't afford to get their medicine in third world countries and places in South America, for example, and even in the African continent and different places across the world, where people live in impoverished conditions every day. Every day. And they look at us like we're clowns for complaining. for complaining all the time because of this false sense of entitlement that I believe we've been programmed to accept. Yeah, I'm entitled to a stimulus every month. You know what the stimulus was for the people in Cuba? In certain, I wouldn't say the entire island of Cuba, but there's a certain part of Cuba where, you know what the stimulus was as far as assistance? Trucks were passing by delivering bones for people to make soup out of bones to eat. Animal bones. This is documented. I'm not, creating stuff out of thin air. They were giving out animal bones to give to people who are poor, can't afford to eat. Here you go. That was the stimulus. And here we are. Here we are over here. Here we are. Again, clamoring. Acting as if, woe is me. This is all doom and gloom. That's it. This is the end of the world. No, it's not. Because if they can eat if they can make soup out of animal bones and still do what they have to do in Cuba and all across the world, what do we have to complain about? But human nature, people are funny. Folks are going to feel like they're entitled for whatever, to do whatever and to complain for the sake of complaining. For the sake of complaining. You drink water in these parts of the countries, you can't, because if you do, you get sick. So if you get sick and you go to the hospital in these third world, I don't care if you're American or not, pay this money to be seen by the doctor. And if you can't pay that money, you won't be seen. Education is a big thing in these different parts of the country, different parts of the world outside of America, where there is no public education, like I said already. So now here we are. We're waiting to see when are we going to get some type of stimulus. Create your stimulus. Create the opportunity to always have stimulus, irregardless and irrespective of what's going on in the world. We can do that here in America. Like, we can do that. There's certain people and certain corporations and certain companies and people who become even more wealthy during a pandemic. During this pandemic, they've become more wealthy and rich. We have to really stop and release. There's people who have nothing. We have a home, we have our health, we have opportunities to make a way. Some people just want everything for nothing. Some people just want to be lazy. Some people just want to receive. Some people want to just complain and cry victimhood. Embrace the idea, the mentality of being a victim. And it's sad. It's disgusting. It's annoying. And I would say it's actually disrespectful, not only to themselves, but to so many people. So many people, so many children who will never have half of what we have today. Pick a country in Africa and see if you can go complain about not getting a stimulus. Pick a country. Pick a country in Africa and see if you could complain about not getting a stimulus. Pick a country in Africa and if you could complain about how you gonna work if you about to get in a shutdown. They're about to shut down your schools and which is going to be the precursor for a full shutdown. See how that works. See how that fares out for you. Go do that in China. Go do that in different parts of the world. Go do that. Go do that. Different parts of Europe, South America. Go see how they look at you. I mean, let's be for real. Let's be for real. Let's be for real here. What this doesn't after a while I had to really like I feel like a fool. I feel like a fool because I was complaining. Oh, what are they doing? You know, what's the governor doing? What's the mayor doing? Are they crazy? They don't see what's going on. Lockdown, how we gonna work? How we gonna figure it out? Figure it out. If you have people who've been abandoned by their families from third world countries, have been abandoned by their families as children, have been sold into whatever types of situations, even slavery, and have been abandoned and found a way through all kinds of hardship, found a way to land in America and become successful. I've met these people throughout my entire life, and they've become successful here. How dare I find the audacity to complain about things that just appear to be nonsense after a while. And I'm going to describe a worst case scenario, like a bad scenario. Let's say, and there's people, of course, situations, everyone has a story, but let's say you can't pay rent. I'm talking about New York. You can't pay rent because of the pandemic. Well, you're behind. Okay. You can't find work because social distancing, COVID, businesses are closed, etc., etc. Okay. What are you going to do? You're going to die? No. You're going to look for the resources that are available. There are people who live in this country, who have left their own states to come to New York due to the opportunities that you could find here in New York that are not present in their respective states. And I'm talking about having their basic food, clothing, and shelter, have those needs met right off the bat. Again, like I said, I serve clients who suffer from mental illness, who can't take care of their basic daily living skills, who have services uninterrupted. Their basic needs are met. To the point where at one point I was saying to myself, wow, some of my clients are in great situations, and are really, really like, thank goodness for these social programs that are available. If those programs get cut, that's a different conversation though. But it's available. The opportunities are available. When you could turn on a phone, you could turn on a camera, and if you apply yourself and you create a situation, whether it's a blog, whether you want to become, a part of the media, whatever you're doing something that you enjoy and actually become successful through hard work, consistency, and earn a living turning on a camera. Just by turning on a camera. For example, that's just one example out of many. The country infused so many grants, so many loans, and you have people who complain about the system, who complain about the process, who complain. You know how many people scammed the Paycheck Protection Program loans through the CARES Act, right? That the stimulus, the $1 trillion package stimulus this year, how many people scammed the system? And the system is very well flawed because stimulus checks or whatever were sent to people who were deceased and everything. It's just money they just pissed away. They just pissed away. The money is available if you apply yourself. It's almost like akin to when you're trying to find a school to attend and you need financial assistance, whatever, scholarship, grants. $1 is better than no dollars. It's available. Corporations, foundations, nonprofit organizations, philanthropic types of institutions, whatever. This is a time where you have to rise to the occasion and apply yourself at the highest level out of desperation and sheer survival. And the chances of you, being receiving what you're looking for are greater than living in a place where that's just entirely non-existent, living in countries where these things do not exist, and you have to succumb and deal with the conditions regardless. Here, this is not the case. It's not the case. And what we do, we complain. Because we're so comfortable and complacent. We don't want to see change. We want to just keep putting our hands out and having our hands filled for next to no work. I could understand you're retired and or you have your own businesses and you're living off of residual income. That's different because you had to actually put the work in. It didn't come out of anywhere. Or if you're well off and extremely fortunate, you're a product of a trust fund. Your trust fund babies out here, and you had the huge inheritance from wealthy families. That's just what it is. But that is not the reality for many of us. We have to put the work in. And not just a protest. Not and forget about the rioting and looting. That is just not enough. That's not going to change your circumstances today. It's not going to change your circumstances today. No one cares. Like these large situations and people and government and elected officials do not care about your needs today. They don't. That's a reality. So what are you going to do? Continue to complain or make something happen? Like the old adage, I quote Tupac Shakur, trying to make $1 out of 15 cents, because many people have made $1 and more out of 15 cents and less. And so now the talks are, You know, once the new administration comes in, the Biden administration, okay, he's in support of, stimulus, I think. I don't know how true that is. So in January, the end of towards the end of January 21st, when if they should institute a full lockdown, the idea is people are going to be paid to stay home. Now, let's just think about this here. Let's just think about this. You're gonna be paid to stay home. That's almost heavenly. I mean, really. And people are complaining. No, I want to work. I want to work. Sure, you want to work, but guess what? You can't work right now, but you're gonna be paid to stay home. That's what happened in the spring. Many people were receiving more money through the stimulus at the beginning when the CARES Act was first enacted. We're making more money receiving, $600 from the federal government on top of their state unemployment than they were making when they were working. You see how comfortable that is, and how we just lose sight of the basic of what we have. We just lose sight, and we feel like, no, we want more. We want more. Well, you know what happened? They reduced the 600 to what, 300, 400. I don't know, because I didn't receive it. But it's not about me. I'm just saying that this is what was still issued, okay? And the $1,200, that was a one-time deal. But I mean, really, make something happen. Make something happen out of nothing. Negotiate. Everyone is dealing with this the same. We all going through it. We're all going through it. Like when I say negotiate, I'm talking about, as far as landlords and issues with that, because that's a reality. We have to pay our rent, we have to pay our mortgage, negotiate with the banks. School loans are frozen right now. There's a rent moratorium nationally until December 31st. Why? Because there's a hardship that's present right now. It's a reality. But look for something. Look to change the situation instead of complaining and waiting for some, savior to get you up out of the situation. Do something. But it's that mentality of being complacent, of being dependent, of feeling entitled, that's just destroying, that's just helping people with this vibration, this vibe, having people have this attitude that, everything is going to crap. Do something. Don't wait. Do something. Because we can. Because we can. We're in a country where we can. I'm in a state where we can. Where there are homeless people. There's a homeless population in New York that rather be homeless than deal with the system that's providing shelter, that's providing food assistance, that's providing cash assistance, that's providing health care. It's their choice, right? But it's there. That's non-existent in in many other countries. It's non-existent. Yet we still complain. Receive benefits, receive retirement, receive Social Security, receive pension, receive whatever type of retirement vehicle or product to help, the population that can't work and stuff, and or who are, who've retired from their respective occupations and industries. Okay, so it's those resources, services are there, but it's also there for us who are able-bodied, who are able-bodied to understand things from a macro perspective, not just what we go through day to day from an individual point of view, but from a macro perspective. Because the restrictions are here, the restrictions are coming. So, what is it that you're going to do? You're going to continue to complain, or you're going to continue to put the effort forth to get yourself in a better position than you're in now? Because if that day comes where we're in full lockdown and we're getting money to be paid to stay home, and you're still gonna complain, I don't know what to tell you. If that day even comes, but they've been playing like, ping pong, catch me if you can, like this just back and forth thing with the government and stimulus and all this stuff. But the corporations that were the first to be bailed out, the corporations and these companies were the first to be bailed out. Trillions. The money is there. Figure out a way for you to get a piece of that pie, because you can. You can. That's the issue. That's the whole thing. You can. We can. Take care. Yeah, I know I ended that video, but I need to say one last thing. One last thing. One last thing. So I say all of those things to say this too. Not only should we put our own efforts, like we should really put the work in as far as finding, like look, apply our best foot forward. You know, complaining, right? Complaining about schools shutting down, and can't go to a gym after 10, can't go to a gym or a restaurant. We can't entertain our families. These things, it's hard, but guess what? There's people, there's people across the world who don't have gyms, who don't have restaurants in general, can't afford to go to restaurants to eat, and here we are complaining. Here we are complaining. You know, family, you can't have family gatherings. These privileges for some, for us, are luxuries for many. These privileges that we have, that we could say, no, it's all right, inalienable rights, to live free and blah blah blah. These privileges, yes, it's an interruption and it sucks, but many people can't even afford to go to a gym. Who don't have gyms to go to? A bar. Like, what are we talking about? They can't afford to do, they don't even have that available to them at all. There's people that brush their teeth with sticks. And here we are complaining. Complaining. There's people that don't even have families in their own respective homeland. They don't even have a roof over their head to entertain two people, much less 10. But we're complaining. Oh, Well, I'm out this time for real. Crypto Wonder, I'm out.